Senator Marsha Blackburn in focus, Republican senator from Tennessee who sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee and is ranking member on the Senate Subcommittee for Consumer Protection, Product Safety, and Data Security. All around, making some news this week, you are, Senator, as you focused on Facebook and now you are honing in on this issue. Let's focus in on where you want us to be. Where's the fight on this, and who wages that fight?
Well, we're going to wage that fight. And Harris, I think there's a whole lot of mama bears out here who are going to say, you're not going to do this to my children and grandchildren. And, you know, moms are now, they're paying so much attention to what their children are being taught in school. And they are going to these school board meetings and they're participating. And they're challenging and they're asking questions and they're saying, I will not stand for a government takeover of my kids. We are not going to let you indoctrinate our children. We are going to be sure that you are educating children. And so whether it's that or it is calling to account Facebook and saying, stop data mining our kids, moms have just about had it. And I am all with them because I've been fighting what big tech is doing. I've been fighting what they're doing with CRT and trying to force a certain education, but not education, moving to indoctrination, fighting that every single day. And so, women Senator, have always been fierce defenders for freedom, and I think you're going to see women take charge of this issue like never before.
Senator, just moments ago as you were speaking, we were seeing some video of you yesterday on the Hill, and it's what I described as you were talking with officials and lawmakers about where we go next with this whole take it to the DOJ if you have a complaint against school officials. And, you know, I'm looking at that, and you got your, I know from seeing you on the Hill, when you got your big binder notebook with you, you're serious. You've got pages to go through.
Yes.
So tell me, who's driving this? Because this is important, right? Did the president say, I want this looked at, and no, in any way, shape, or form, would that work out? Do we know that the DOJ would take a command and control issue then from the president? How did this get to the point where the FBI is going to settle local disputes between school officials and little babies' parents?
And what we know happened is the teachers union sent a memo over to the White House, to President Biden, that, oh my goodness, these parents are challenging us and they're speaking up and they're showing up at school board meetings. So we need the FBI, the DOJ, to take charge of these issues. But you know what? I think the teachers union forgot to read those words. We, the people, with a capital P. And this is the people. Lots of moms and dads and grandmoms who are being the people and making certain that these children are receiving an education, that it is not CRT, that it is not indoctrination that they are getting every single day. And I'm standing with these moms every step of the way.
The DOJ is asking people then to report any threats or incidents with parents and school officials to the FBI's National Threat Operations Center. I've been saying it here. This is the field director on what exactly they do at that center. Just so we're clear what they do. Let's watch.
INTOC is extremely important in protecting the American people. They cover all of our threats. They touch on counterterrorism, criminal, counterintelligence, domestic terrorism type threats. So they touch all of our program priorities, and they're responsible for making the decisions from the start and getting that information where it needs to go quickly.
So that's very specific. First of all, your quick thought on that, and I want to follow.
Yes, what they are basically saying is they consider parents who show up and speak out and hold school boards accountable to be a domestic threat. Now, think about that one.
So if it's their job to go through threats, I want to follow you on how you get there. because this will be challenged, right?
Yes.
If you didn't want
definitely.
people to think what you just expressed, you would have said, go down to your local police department and file a report, which, by the way, is how we handle most things locally, right? Somebody cuts you off a little road rage down the block and you
Right.
know it's your neighbor, you go to the local cops. And that's how they make our lives better, because they stick themselves in those sticky wicket situations and work it out
Right.
and apply the law. So this is people who don't want to adult, though, because adulting is hard. What you're talking about, Senator, is someone is now going against the policies of this administration. And I don't want to overblow this, but I really am trying to understand. And if they can't take a debate from parents who are very much invested, different than just having an opinion, their babies are in these schools, is
That's right.
this how they handle dissent? That doesn't feel
this
like
is
America.
Well, it is the cancel culture writ large from coast to coast. This is what they are trying to do. They want everyone to agree with them in total. And if you challenge them, you're a bad actor. Well, they don't want robust, respectful political debate, which has served our nation well since our founding, doing exactly what you're talking about, sitting down, discussing issues, hashing it out. A government that is accountable to the people. As I said, they don't want the people to be the people. What they are saying is, you take what we're going to give you. If you challenge a government takeover of your children, if you challenge what we are doing, we're going to turn you over to the FBI. And shame on the teachers' unions for doing this. And I hope people continue to stand up for their freedoms, continue to stand up for their children, and continue to speak out about what is wrong and holding elected officials to account.
And Senator, I press in a little bit because I really want to get to this. You've had such a busy last 7 days or so on these different topics. And here's one that's bipartisan, bringing people together, outraged, again with our kids in the center of it all, right? Bipartisan outrage over the Facebook whistleblowers' damning testimony this week. Senators from both sides of the political aisle proposing new legislation to rein in social media, particularly Facebook. And Commerce Subcommittee Chairman Richard Blumenthal says they need to hear directly from the CEO.
This testimony is about as compelling and credible and deeply disturbing as it gets. Facebook's greed is driving these teens into the darkest of places because they simply want to amplify messages. I think Mark Zuckerberg has to come before this committee, and if Facebook is so dissatisfied, as they indicated in that statement, and they really want congressional action, they ought to come here and participate at the table.
However, and this won't blow your mind because you've seen it before, Zuckerberg denies the whistleblower's claim, saying, "We care deeply about issues like safety, well-being, and mental health. It's difficult to see coverage that represents our work and our motives. At the heart of these accusations is the idea that we prioritize profit over safety and well-being. That's just not true." Ranking member on this subcommittee, you are, Senator Blackburn, and you had a lot to say too. What are you hoping that Mark Zuckerberg does next?
Well, I will say this. We know from the documents that we've received that it has affirmed a lot of the anecdotal information we were getting from parents and teachers and principals and pediatricians. And what we do know is that Facebook has been data mining children as young as 8 years old, looking at the digital experience that those children want to have. And indeed, we have invited Facebook to come in, to be sworn in, to tell their side of the story, because we want to rein in big tech. We know that the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act needs to be updated. And as it's currently written, we fully believe that Facebook is outside of the parameters of that law. Yes.
Real quickly before I let you go, are Democrats on board with getting that done? And then I've got to go.
Interestingly enough, they are coming our direction on reining in big tech when it comes to dealing with children and privacy.
Senator Marsha Blackburn from the great state of Tennessee, you and I could talk all day. I'm so appreciative of your time, your expertise, and bringing us the notes from the fights plural that you're waging on the Hill. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.